My son was hospitalized with acute appendicitis. I cancelled my meeting to take care of him, only to rush home and find my wife in an intimate situation with another man. The look on her face in that moment was colder than indifference, chilling me to the bone. I froze, consumed by a sudden wave of fury and despair. I lifted my foot and kicked hard at the bedroom door. "Ah!" Scarlett shrieked, cowering into the man's arms. I recognized him, Dustin, Scarlett's ex-boyfriend from college. Back then, he had dumped Scarlett, disdaining her average family background, and immediately started dating a girl from a well-off family. And I had always secretly loved Scarlett. To spite him, Scarlett had turned around and started a relationship with me. I was completely infatuated, and we ended up having a shotgun wedding. "Scarlett!" I roared, my eyes burning with rage. The woman, who had been terrified moments before, instantly became self-righteous when she saw it was me. She scornfully demanded, "Why are you home instead of at work?" I pressed my lips together, glaring at them furiously, then lunged forward, wanting nothing more than to tear apart that repulsive pair. I grabbed Scarlett's arm and threw her off the bed, then pounced directly onto Dustin. I rained down punch after punch on Dustin, each one fueled by immense fury. Bang, a sharp pain exploded at the back of my head. I turned, only to see Scarlett raising a desk lamp and bringing it down on me without mercy. My forehead throbbed, and my vision blurred red. I was knocked to the ground, Scarlett pinning my arms, while Dustin climbed on top of me, his punches landing hard. I was completely defenseless. I glared resentfully at those two scumbags, barely clinging to consciousness. Fearing might go too far and kill me, Scarlett eventually pulled him off. I lay sprawled on the floor like a dead dog, too weak to even move. Scarlett solicitously caressed Dustin's injuries, then angrily kicked me twice. "Nathan, are you insane? You hit him so hard." I sneered sarcastically. "Scarlett, do you seriously have the nerve to say I hit him hard? If murder wasn't illegal, I wouldn't even be breathing right now." She averted her gaze in disgust. "If you hadn't started it, we wouldn't have fought back. Ultimately, you brought this on yourself." For the first time, I clearly realized that in Scarlett's eyes, I was worse than a dog. "Since you've seen it, I won't hide anything anymore. Nathan, we are getting a divorce. The house and the child are mine, and you'll leave with nothing." "On what grounds?" I roared. I might not be particularly capable, but I bought this house. Back then, to prove my loyalty, I even put it solely in her name, yet every month I was the one struggling to pay the mortgage. How dare she just demand I leave with nothing? Scarlett sneered, looking at me with contempt. "On what grounds?" "For following a worthless piece of trash, like you all these years, for practically killing myself to give birth to your son, for never having a single good day, that's why you should leave with nothing." How laughable. This was the woman I'd fought with my family to marry. All these years, she hadn't worked a single day since we got married. After our son was born, she used the excuse that breastfeeding would ruin her figure, and heartlessly dumped the child on me. I worked all day, then came home to cater to her every need, and I was also the one who put our son to bed at night. Meanwhile, Scarlett just had to get herself dressed up beautifully every day, and go shopping with 3 or 5 girlfriends. And if she was in a bad mood, she'd take it out on me, with a few harsh words. She called that difficult. Since she was showing no mercy, I saw no reason to be soft-hearted either. I looked at her with determination. "Divorce is fine, but I won't give you the house or the child. You don't deserve them. Nathan, you won't win this." She looked at me confidently, while Dustin stood beside her, eager for a fight. "Then let's see." I staggered out of the house I'd lived in for 8 years, now splitting my time between the hospital and the company every day. During this time, Scarlett never once visited our son at the hospital. I knew she was selfish, but I never imagined she could go this far. I also never expected her to make a scene at my workplace. I rushed back from the hospital to the office, keenly aware of everyone's strange looks. Moments later, Scarlett's sobs echoed from the crowd, and I froze in place. The crowd parted, and I saw Scarlett weeping hysterically in front of Mr. Marcus. Mr. Marcus, please, you have to help me. All these years, I've been devoted to Nathan. I haven't had a single good day with him, and now that things are finally looking up a little, he wants a divorce. Not only is he trying to take our child, but he's also making me leave with nothing. Hearing this, I angrily strode forward, pointing at her, about to unleash a torrent of insults, but she immediately hid behind Mr. Marcus. Please don't hit me. I froze. Scarlett, stop making false accusations. When have I ever hit you? She pulled up her sleeve, revealing an arm covered in bruises. Normally, family shame shouldn't be aired in public, but Nathan has gone too far. Not only did he hit me, but he also threatened to kill me if I didn't divorce him. I've realized I don't want a man like this anymore, but I hope Mr. Marcus can help me get what I deserve. I stared at her in disbelief. To slander me, she had actually inflicted such harm upon herself. Yet, because I usually split my time between home and work, neglecting to socialize with colleagues, everyone present was now influenced by her and started whispering and pointing at me. I had no way to defend myself. Scarlett's face was full of triumph, as if she was saying, "You can't win against me." My head instantly boiled with rage, and I lunged forward, but someone held me back. All I could do was shout at her, "Scarlett, ask yourself honestly, have I ever mistreated you? All these years, I've provided for your every need, never making you work a single day. I took care of the child, did all the housework, hand-washed all your underwear. Every penny I earned, I handed over to you. I lived worse than a dog in that house, so how have I ever wronged you? You cheated on me." Since things had come to this, I had nothing left to lose. I continued to vent when our son was hospitalized with appendicitis. His teacher couldn't reach you. I was the one who went to the hospital. What were you doing then? You were sleeping with another man at home. If I hadn't worried about you and come home early, would I have been cheated on for the rest of my life? Her face contorted, and she shrieked at me, "You are lying. You are making false accusations." I sneered. What's done in the dark eventually comes to light. I don't mind asking security to pull up the surveillance footage to see who's really lying between us. But I underestimated Scarlett's shamelessness. I had exposed everything, yet she still managed to play the victim. My life is so miserable. Married to a man like this, I can't live like this anymore. Then let's get divorced. I roared. Then you leave with nothing. Scarlett, that's absurd. I gritted my teeth. A flicker of triumph crossed her eyes, and murmurs of colleagues whispering filled the air around us. I never would have guessed Nathan was this kind of person, a man who's so petty with his wife, deserves to be divorced, and he hits his wife. No wonder she wants to divorce him. I completely lost my temper and roared, "All of you, shut up." The crowd fell silent for a moment, then mocking laughter erupted. Powerless rage. A man living like this is just pathetic. If I were his wife, I'd kick him out too. I glared fixedly at the speaker, a colleague I'd always had issues with. Old grievances and new insults combined, and I lunged directly at him. The entire department descended into chaos. "Enough!" Mr. Marcus bellowed, putting an end to the farce. He looked at me. "Pack your things and leave. This isn't the place for you anymore." "Mr. Marcus." He raised a hand to cut me off. "Don't say anything more. Nathan, you've been with the company for a long time, and you know we always prioritize our corporate image. I don't get involved in your personal affairs, but when it affects the company's image, I have no choice but to let you go." Just as Scarlett wished, I was fired. I left the company in disgrace, under the gazes of everyone who had come to witness the spectacle. In the elevator, Scarlett smugly reapplied her makeup. "Nathan, I advise you to just divorce me soon, pack your things, and get lost." I gritted my teeth, glaring at her, wanting nothing more than to strangle her. Then the hospital suddenly called, saying my son's wound was infected. I rushed to the hospital, but Scarlett still hadn't shown up. My son was crying pitifully, and all I could do was hold him tenderly. "Dad, are you going to divorce Mom?" I froze. It seemed Scarlett had been here. "Dad, I want to be with you. I don't like Mom either." I had practically raised my son myself all these years, so it was natural for him to be closer to me. I stroked my son's head. "Don't worry, Dad won't abandon you." My son hesitated, then said, "Dad, just give the house to Mom. If you and Mom fight over the house, you'll never get divorced." "But I don't like Mom, Dad. For my sake, just let her have it. When I grow up, I'll definitely take good care of you." I gazed at my son, a complex mix of emotions on my face. What my son didn't know was that he wasn't my biological child. But the child was innocent, and after all, I had raised him myself. "Okay, Dad promises." After comforting my son, I proactively contacted Scarlett. "The house is yours, the child is mine." "No." She normally paid no attention to the child, yet now she refused to let go. "Then let's go through legal channels. You cheated first, and I have evidence. If it comes to a lawsuit, you won't win against me, and Leo has clearly stated he wants to stay with me." Scarlett relented. The house would be hers, and our son would be mine. In truth, I had no evidence. The divorce proceedings began. Even though I was incredibly busy every day, I still made sure to deliver meals to the hospital 3 times a day. After all, Leo had chosen me, and I couldn't betray his trust. Until one day, I finished an interview early and arrived at the hospital with the food I prepared. Familiar voices emanated from the ward. Dustin was there too. "Leo, you need to play your part well, okay?" My son's voice came through. "Mom and Dad, don't worry. Nathan, that old fool, trusts me completely. He'll believe anything I say. Once you get the house, I'll stay with him. I'll let him pay for my education and university, and when I grow up, I'll make him buy me a house and help me get married. Then, once I've used him up, we'll kick him into a nursing home, and let him fend for himself. That way, our family of 3 can finally be together." Dustin burst out laughing. "You really are my son, Dustin. You are going places." I kicked open the door and stormed in, hurling the insulated food container I was holding. The hot contents made them jump, and I rushed forward, slapping my son across the face twice. "Leo, how could you do this to me?" He was stunned by my blows, but the next second he shrieked and leaped up, trying to kick me. I grabbed his leg and slapped him several more times. "Nathan, how dare you hit my son? I'll kill you." I wrestled with Dustin. Scarlett tried to repeat her trick, but the moment she lunged, I kicked her away. Fury can unleash boundless potential in a person. Scarlett couldn't get up for a long time after I kicked her, and Dustin kept begging for mercy as I hit him. Finally, the nurses and doctors who rushed in pulled me away. We were taken to the police station. The 3 of them twisted the facts, weeping pitifully. I only asked one question: "Leo, tell me honestly, have you ever considered me your father?" He twisted his head, looking at me with scorn and disdain, and his young mouth spewed nothing but vile words. "You are not my dad. If I had a useless father like you, I would have killed myself a long time ago." In that moment, I finally understood. Some people are born evil, it's in their genes. And my mistake was foolishly trying to change someone who was inherently bad. Alright, no matter what, initiating violence is wrong, especially against a child. Sign these papers and call someone to pick you up. The police officer slammed the table, clearly singling me out. I didn't say anything, just took out my phone, and dialed a number I hadn't called in a long time. "Ethan, if you have time, could you come down here?" Before I could hang up, Scarlett scoffed. "Oh, so you actually have family. Do you really think that deadbeat brother you haven't contacted in 7 or 8 years will come pick you up? Nathan, just settle in for half a month in jail." I looked at her with pity. She would never know what she had truly missed out on. 15 minutes later, 10 luxury cars pulled up outside the police station. Ethan, whom I hadn't seen in years, walked in. He looked at me. "You are regressing. Are our family members so weak they don't know how to fight back when they are bullied?" I lowered my head. Ethan turned his gaze to Scarlett, who was still jeering at me. "Nathan, where did you find these actors? They must cost a fortune." Can you even afford them? Years ago, to be with her, I had a huge falling out with my parents, and even stole the family records needed to marry Scarlett. For these past 8 years, I'd held a grudge and hadn't contacted my family, and I'd never mentioned anything about them to Scarlett. She had even believed I was an orphan. With a single glance from Ethan, the bodyguard beside him restrained Scarlett and slapped her twice. Dustin rushed forward but was pinned to the ground by a bodyguard in less than 3 seconds. Police. I'm calling the police, Dustin yelled. Unfortunately, no one paid him any mind. Seeing that the bodyguard was about to continue, I quickly intervened. Wait, I'll do it myself. With old grudges and new insults fueling me, I beat Dustin until his face was a swollen mess, and he was on his knees begging for mercy. After letting off some steam, I left the police station with Ethan. Leo followed us out. Dad, are you really rich? I looked down, my face expressionless. Don't claim kinship. I'm not your dad. The next second, he lunged forward, hugging my leg, and wailing, Dad, I was wrong. Dad, don't abandon me. After all, he was a 7-year-old child, and we were on a busy street. His crying quickly drew a crowd of curious onlookers, and I instinctively tried to shake him off. He clung to my leg even tighter, crying and calling out Dad repeatedly. Scarlett also came out. Her eyes filled with greed when she saw the line of luxury cars. She looked at me hesitantly. Nathan. I sneered. Don't be so familiar. We're divorced. I haven't signed the papers yet. Scarlett shrieked, then her eyes suddenly lit up. Nathan, we are not divorced yet. You love me so much, you wouldn't want to see me sad, right? Let's go home. Our family of 3 can live happily together. I cut her off. Who says I'm a family of 3 with you? Scarlett, you haven't forgotten what you did to me, have you? Her face turned pale. Dustin, feeling his pride wounded, went to pull her away. Come back with me. But she slapped him directly. Get lost. I don't know you. Scarlett grabbed me, desperately explaining, it was all Dustin's idea. I was forced. Nathan, you have to believe me. I shook off her hand. Were you forced to sleep with him too? She frantically nodded. I sneered, then go call the police. We are right outside the station, after all. Her face went white, and she stood frozen. Dustin, having just taken a beating inside, was already simmering with rage. Hearing her shameless words, he exploded. He slapped Scarlett twice across the face. You wretched woman. How dare you hit me? How dare you talk nonsense? Watching them tearing at each other like dogs, I pried Leo's arms off my leg. Dad. Your dad is over there. Don't mistake him for me. My family didn't ask many questions about what happened. There wasn't much to ask, anyway. Even though we hadn't been in contact for years, I knew they were well aware of everything concerning me. With my family's help, Scarlett and I quickly got divorced. She left with nothing. But we had all underestimated Scarlett's tenacity. She directly became a deadbeat. She even found the location of my family's mansion somehow, and started staking out the place every day, spreading rumors that I had abandoned my wife and son. I could disregard it myself, but I couldn't ignore my parents' reputation. I proactively arranged to meet Scarlett at the place we used to live. The day I entered the neighborhood, someone spat at me. Pa. You heartless man who abandons his family. Aunt. Don't call me that, I can't bear it. Just then, Scarlett came down, and enthusiastically clung to my arm. I subtly distanced myself from her, and her eyes welled up. The curses grew louder, mixed with words of comfort. Don't be sad, dear. You are better off without a man like that. I suddenly felt there was absolutely no need to spare her reputation anymore. Scarlett, why don't you tell Aunt what kind of man I really am? Scarlett's face stiffened, then she nervously averted her gaze. Aunt, please go about your business. I'll handle our affairs myself, no need for you to worry. Oh, no, please stay. I was just about to let everyone judge the situation. Seeing my self-righteousness, Aunt was filled with righteous indignation. Don't be afraid, dear. With me here, he wouldn't dare lay a hand on you. Scarlett's face was filled with panic. I scoffed. I quietly watched as the crowd of onlookers grew, then made a phone call. 10 minutes later, I had everything I needed. Holding the megaphone, I announced, "Today, let everyone see who is truly a heartless man, who abandons his family, and who is truly shameless." In front of everyone, I played all the videos of Scarlett and Dustin in hotels over the years. This also included recent intimate photos of the two of them, and some were even taken in this very house. Good thing I had been cautious and installed surveillance footage, otherwise I never would have known she was trying to keep me while secretly carrying on with Dustin. Gasps of shock erupted, and a torrent of condemnation pushed Scarlett into the spotlight of public shame. She was still struggling. "I only made a mistake that any woman could make. Even if I was wrong, I still gave birth to your son." I laughed. "Do you really take me for a fool?" I pulled out a DNA test report and threw it into her arms. "I've known about your dirty deeds for a long time. Back when Leo had his physical, I noticed his blood type was different from both mine and Scarlett's. So I secretly had a paternity test done. And sure enough, Leo wasn't my child at all. But at that time, I genuinely wanted to have a good life with Scarlett. Plus, we had a shotgun wedding, and before me, she had always been involved with Dustin. I thought maybe even she didn't know the child wasn't mine. But that incident at the hospital made me fully understand she had known all along. Scarlett became a public enemy. I took the opportunity to throw all her belongings out and immediately put the house up for sale at a low price through an agent. After all, I found it tainted. After dealing with that whole mess, I happily started taking it easy. However, my parents and Ethan all agreed that I hadn't moved past my heartbreak. Ethan, especially, kept dragging me to parties every few days, under the guise of cheering me up. I knew they meant well, and since I had nothing else to do, I simply went along. If I had known I'd run into Scarlett and Dustin at the party, I would have stayed home no matter what. Scarlett truly was a short-sighted woman. She held out her hand. "See? Dustin bought this for me. Don't think you are the only one with money. You didn't appreciate me, but plenty of others do." Dustin, beside her, had a smug, self-satisfied look on his face. "Nathan, how did you get in here? Was it your brother who brought you last time? If your family is so rich, why isn't your brother here today?" I scoffed inwardly. People of Eaton's status are always at the table with the real power players, so of course they wouldn't see him. I didn't respond, and Dustin became even more arrogant. "You really had me fooled. You tricked me into letting you take a whole house for free. No wonder those two are a pair. Equally shameless. I had no intention of getting entangled with them, but they refused to let it go." Just then, a woman strode purposefully towards us. Dustin's face drastically changed, and he abruptly pushed Scarlett aside. But it was too late. A glass of red wine was splashed all over his face. "Dustin, have you had enough of your good life? Spending my money and openly bringing your mistress to a party? You've got some nerve." Dustin instantly transformed, not even bothering to fix his disheveled appearance, as he hurried to appease the woman. "Wife, you've got it all wrong. It's just that you were too busy today, so I hired a temporary female companion." "Dustin." Scarlett looked displeased, but before she could even finish her sentence, Dustin roared at her. "Shut up. Is it your place to talk?" I had no interest in watching the show. I turned, preparing to discreetly leave, but the woman grabbed Dustin by the ear. "Now, apologize to Mr. Nathan." "I'm sorry, Mr. Nathan." The woman was relentless. Louder. "Did you not eat?" Dustin looked at me, humiliated, and shouted, "I'm sorry, Mr. Nathan." I waved my hand, not bothering to argue with someone like him. It would be beneath me. I walked over to Ethan, feeling uninspired. "Thanks." I knew Dustin's wife was called by Ethan, just to help me get revenge. He twitched the corner of his mouth. Brothers don't need to thank each other. The party incident caused quite a stir, and everyone was saying my heartbreak was too severe. As a result, my parents insisted on arranging blind dates for me. To be honest, I had no intention of remarrying, But I couldn't resist my mother's masterful acting, so I finally resigned myself to going on a date with the match. One of them was a very interesting woman named Avor. We became friends, and our parents frequently urged us to meet. One evening, as we were having dinner at a high-end restaurant, the glass outside began rattling loudly. Scarlett stood outside, glaring at me, with a mix of fury and resentment. Leo quickly darted away, appearing at our table the next second. "Dad." I dodged his attempt to lunge at me. "Don't call me that. I'm not your dad." "Dad, Dad," he called out even more cheerfully. "Nathan." At some point, Scarlett had also entered. Were high-end restaurants really that lax? Her eyes were red-rimmed as she looked at me. Her hair was dry and brittle, her face gaunt, and half of her nail polish was chipped off. It was clear she hadn't been doing well since I last saw her. Just as I was about to signal someone to remove them, Leo burst into tears. "Dad, is it because of this bad woman that you don't want me and Mom anymore?" Instantly, all the diners in the restaurant turned to look at us. I truly wanted to strangle him. I'd been so devoted to him before, I must have been blind. Before I could speak, Scarlett also started weeping hesitantly, looking like a pitiful, delicate flower. "Nathan, are you really so heartless as to abandon us, mother and son? Have you forgotten the days when the three of us huddled together, eating instant noodles? We endured all that hardship as a family, and now that you are rich, you don't want us anymore." With her twisting of the facts, everyone in the restaurant started whispering and pointing at us. I was furious. After all, Avor was being subjected to this unwarranted trouble because of me. I looked at her apologetically, but she didn't seem to mind. Avor raised a hand and beckoned to the security and a waiter. "Is this how your restaurant serves its customers? You let in just any riffraff?" Seeing this, Leo suddenly lashed out, lunging directly at Avor. Fortunately, I reacted quickly and prevented him from succeeding. "You bad woman, you slut. May you die a horrible death for seducing someone else's husband. Smack. I slapped him. It was hard to imagine such words, coming from a 7-year-old child. In that instant, my gaze turned cold as I looked at Scarlett. "We are already divorced. You know perfectly well whether the child is mine or not. If you are not sure, I don't mind getting another paternity test right now." "Nathan." Scarlett tried to grab me, but I evaded her. "This is the last time. Don't ever appear before me again, or you'll regret it." With that, I prepared to leave with my date, when she suddenly became hysterical. "Nathan, what do you mean? Your family is clearly so rich, yet you were only willing to make Leo and me squeeze into a tiny place. I married you all those years ago, and never enjoyed a single bit of luxury. Now I have nothing because of you. Do you think you've treated me fairly?" She glared at me fiercely. "Now that you re back with your family and have money, you are abandoning us. Nathan, how can you be so cruel?" I truly didn't know how she had the nerve to say such things. It was absolutely mind-boggling. There were some things I hadn't intended to say. But now, I wasn't going to hold back anymore. "Scarlett, do you know? I had originally planned to take you and Leo back for grandfather's 90th birthday celebration this year." Hearing this, she stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wide. A look of immense surprise burst forth in them. I continued, "You could have had everything, mansions, luxury cars, jewelry, they all would have been yours." Her expression became increasingly frantic. Her hands trembled with excitement. "But you messed everything up. All those things that were within your grasp, you'll never have the chance to get them in this lifetime." She started crying. She broke free from the security guard's grasp and lunged to grab me. "Nathan, I was wrong. Please, just give me another chance. Leo and I can't live without you." I expressionlessly pried her fingers off. "You can't live without me. No, you just can't bear to lose my money." Her face paled as I pressed on. "If I still had nothing, if we were still squeezed into a tiny house, and everything was just like before, would you still be so reluctant to let me go?" She flinched, then quickly explained, "It's always been you I loved." I raised a hand. "Scarlett, some things are better left unsaid. They are sickeningly laughable. Seeing that my stance was firm, she stopped begging and started to negotiate for less. Then give the house back to me. Consider it compensation for me and Leo. I scoffed, a laugh of pure disbelief. She always managed to redefine shamelessness for me. I bought the house, I paid the mortgage. What exactly did you contribute? She fell silent. I waved my hand. Get out of here. Before I completely lose my temper, I took Avor's hand and led her out of the restaurant. I am sorry I dragged you into this, she chuckled. I should be thanking Mr. Nathan for showing me such diversity in species. We exchanged a smile. She was always so understanding, never making anyone feel awkward. After that, Scarlett didn't reappear for a long time. As for me, Ethan dragged me into the company. In his words, you have a stake in the company. I can't be the only one working grueling work hours. I immediately declared, I don't need anything. But a person taking it easy apparently has no rights. So I could only join Ethan in working grueling work hours, constantly flying around. The shadows of the past completely receded, until showed up at my door again. I had just finished a marathon meeting, when my assistant told me someone was specifically asking for me at the front desk. I casually asked, and they said it was a woman. Hearing her description, I frowned. Tell the front desk to get rid of her. By the time work ended, I had already forgotten about it. Then I was stopped by Scarlett, who seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Nathan, please save Leo. He's dying. I paused, then mentally cursed myself for even considering getting involved. If he's dying, you should find Dustin, not come to me. I lifted my foot to leave, and she dropped to her knees with a thud. Nathan, I'm begging you. If I weren't desperate, I would never have come to you. She wept bitterly. Leo has a concussion, and Dustin was the one who hit him. Seeing her gaunt face, dry hair, and half-chipped nail polish, it seemed Dustin really wasn't treating her well. But what did that have to do with me? My heart couldn't muster an ounce of pity or sympathy for her anymore. Then you should definitely go to Dustin. She shivered, as if a thought had struck her, and started repeatedly bowing her head to me. Nathan, I'm begging you. Just take pity on Leo and me. For all the years we were together, for all the years Leo called you dad, please save Leo. She was always skilled at emotional blackmail. But now I was a blood-sucking capitalist. Security, get her out of here. Watching her being dragged away, I felt refreshed and invigorated. Out of curiosity, I still had someone investigate the full story. It turned out that after the last party, Dustin's wife had cancelled his supplementary credit card. Anne's life became difficult as well. Originally, this wasn't a big deal. But, emboldened by having given birth to Dustin's child, directly brought Leo and moved into his house. As a result, Dustin's wife threw both Dustin and her out of the house. Now, they truly had nothing. Scarlett hadn't worked a day in years, so naturally, she wasn't willing to endure hardship. And, who had always been a kept man, couldn't stand such humiliation. The two of them were struggling severely, surviving by selling jewelry. But with their extravagant spending habits, this method wouldn't last long. That's why Scarlett tried to latch onto me when she ran into me again, which led to our chance encounter at the restaurant. But she failed. Later, she blamed everything on Dustin. The two of them got into a huge fight. Leo saw Scarlett getting the worst of it and went to help. He was pushed by Dustin into the doorframe and cracked his head open. After all, he was his own biological son, and he couldn't just let him die. However, when they drew blood, Dustin discovered Leo's blood type was different from his own. So he had a paternity test done and realized that Leo wasn't his biological son either. The thought of all the suffering he had endured recently, and raising someone else's child, infuriated him. Dustin was instantly enraged and violently attacked Scarlett right there in the hospital, not even sparing Leo, who was still in his hospital bed. He beat the boy until he had a concussion. The doctor said that even if he recovered, he would be left with intellectual disabilities. Listening to the bodyguard's report, I felt a pang of regret. How could I have been so blind back then, cherishing a pile of filth, as if it were a treasure? Fortunately, I had seen the light. I had someone donate 5 million to a foundation for individuals with cerebral palsy and disabilities. Slowly, I took over my own work from Ethan. I also confirmed my romantic relationship with Avor. A year later, urged by both our parents, we got married. On the wedding day, as we went to pick up the bride, I handed out wedding favors along the way. Suddenly, a dirty child rushed out, his mouth watering at the sight of the candy in my hand. "Little one, where's your family?" I offered him the candy, asking with concern. From not far away, I heard shouts. "Lo! Lo!" I paused, then looked down closely. It was indeed Leo. A gaunt, sickly-looking woman came up to me and immediately started punching and kicking Leo. "That's what you get for running off. Running off. Just die already." Leo didn't cry, he just focused on stuffing the candy into his mouth. "Enough," I said, unable to watch any longer. "Nathan." Scarlett froze. Then she glared at me fiercely. "You used to say how much you loved me, and now barely a year later, you are remarrying. Nathan, your love is so cheap, you re nothing but a complete hypocrite." I looked at her emotionlessly. "Would you stop walking forever just because you stepped in a pile of shit? You..." She choked on her words. I cut off the stream of profanities about to spill from her mouth. "Scarlett, what goes around comes around. Be careful, karma will get you." I glanced meaningfully at the mentally disabled Leo beside her. Her face turned ashen white, and she stopped arguing, grabbing Leo by the ear and quickly scurrying away. After giving a few instructions to the bodyguards, I continued with the wedding procession. At the wedding, Avor and I exchanged wedding rings and kissed amidst the blessings of our guests. This time, I had finally found my happiness. Later, Ethan gradually let go, and I became capable of handling things independently. Avor became pregnant. I felt I had matured a great deal. Every day, besides going to work, I would go home to be with my wife. Because his morning sickness was quite severe, I racked my brain trying to cook her delicious meals myself. As the months went by and her pregnancy advanced, Ava's calves started to swell and she'd get cramps at night. So, I added another task, giving her a foot soak and massage. "Nathan, I feel so incredibly happy." I dried her feet and placed them on my lap, massaging them with gentle, even pressure. "I'm happy too." I wasn't lying. It was only after meeting Avor that I truly understood what mutual love felt like. Before, when I was with Scarlett, all she ever did was demand money from me. I was more like a servant than a husband. Avor curled her feet and giggled. "Actually, you don't know this, but I've liked you for a long time." Hearing that, I brightened, leaning forward to hug her. "So tell me, when did you start liking me?" She stood up and ran off. "It's a secret." I shook my head, chuckling. "Slow down, dear. The rest of our lives would be nothing but sweetness." Nathan's extra, as pregnancy advanced, I spent more and more time at home. One day, the news reported a particularly heinous child abuse case. It was Scarlett. I wasn't surprised at all. She was utterly selfish and never cared for children. The only reason she was willing to keep taking care of Leo, who had intellectual disabilities, was for the meager monthly allowance. She was arrested, and went to join Dustin. Leo was sent to a special needs orphanage. I gently touched Avor's belly, and arranged for someone to donate 3 million to the special needs orphanage in the child's name. I wasn't sure if that money would directly benefit Leo. Consider it good karma for our unborn child. Avor's extra. When my family arranged a blind date for me, I wasn't thrilled. But when I found out the person was Nathan, I agreed. No one knew I liked Nathan. I had a crush on him since high school. I followed him all the way to college, watching helplessly as he started relationships with other women. Later, people in our social circle said that Nathan had fallen out with his family because of that woman. I envied that woman, and at the same time, I felt Nathan deserved better. Because he didn't know, she wasn't as good as he thought. Everyone in the women's dorm knew Scarlett was promiscuous and loved juggling multiple men. She had openly said that she was with Nathan just to spite Dustin. I even wrote anonymous letters to Nathan, but he remained unaffected. In the end, there was nothing I could do but watch him be deceived. Finally, I comforted myself believing that someone as good as him would surely find happiness. Then, news spread in our social circle that he was back home. Before I could even act, my family brought him right to me. In that instant, I made up my mind. This time, I had to seize the opportunity and get the person I loved. And later, my wish came true. For the rest of my life, he would be mine.